Thank you very much for watching this Apicurio Studio Getting Started video. The purpose of this video is to show you how quick and easy it is to get started using Apicurio Studio to design your APIs. If this is your first time using the software, the first thing you'll have to do is create a linked account. We'll go ahead and link our GitHub account to our Apicurio account. This will allow Apicurio to store content in GitHub on your behalf. Okay, now that our link is established, we can go ahead and get started by creating a new API. So for this demonstration, we'll create a simple address book API. And we're going to go ahead and store it in GitHub. So everything looks good, so we're going to go ahead and design our API. Now, of course, we just created the API, so we don't have any paths or definitions. First thing we can do, though, is set up some basic information like title and description, and also version. So let's go ahead and give this a version. And then I'm going to skip contact, tags, and security, and just show you really quickly how to set up a license. So we're going to go ahead and pick Apache 2 for the license. And we can configure the contact information, tags, and security information as well, but I'm going to skip that and go straight for the definition of the API itself. So this is an address book, so let's create a couple of paths for it. Being that we have a good RESTful API, we'll create an addresses path as well as a path for a specific address by ID. Now we don't have any operations defined yet, so let's go ahead and flesh those out. The addresses path will need a get and also a post. The get operation will be a list addresses, and for the post, this is where we create an address. Now for the address path, we'll have to have a get to retrieve information about a particular address, a put to update it, and a delete to delete it. Now all of these operations share a common path parameter. Path parameters can be defined here at the path level or overridden at the individual operation level. I find it usually the most useful to simply define it here at the path level. So go ahead and give this a description and a type. And we'll just make all of our IDs strings for now. Okay, so we have some operations for our paths now, but we don't have any types to use. So before we go ahead and complete the configuration of each of our operations, let's go add a reusable type. And of course, we'll have a reusable type called address. I can add an address blank at this point and simply add all the properties via the designer, or I can provide an initial JSON example if I have one. So let's just do that very quickly. Okay, so we have a sample JSON, and we'll go ahead and hit add. As you can see, it has detected from the example the set of properties that are required. But of course, I forgot to add a few in my sample, so I'll go ahead and add those extra here. I missed the zip code, and of course, an address line. And then I can go ahead and configure their types. Okay. Now let's go back and finish the configuration of each of our operations. So we have a list addresses operation here. It's a get, so it doesn't have a request body, but we do have to determine or specify what the responses are. So let's just give this a simple 200 response and indicate that we're going to return an array of addresses. Then for the create, we need both a body and a response. So let's go ahead and add a body and say an address. So to create an address, of course, we'll send up an address payload as part of the request, and what we'll get back is perhaps a 201 created. And now we can go ahead and move on to the final three operations. For getting an address, again, it's simply adding a response of 200, and the response type should be address. For our update, again, we have to add a body. Address will be sent up to update the information, and we'll get back a no content. And then finally for delete, all we need is a response. So as you can see, it's extremely easy to create a new API using this tool. Once we're done, we can go ahead and hit Save Changes. And the changes will be committed back to GitHub. Thanks for watching this video, and we hope you find Apicurio Studio to be a useful tool for all your API design needs.